Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. We've just started the recording, so let's get started. Today, we're going to be talking about the Advanced Placement Computer Science A Example Labs. So this is part of our Teacher Success webinar series here at CompuScholar. And just by way of brief introductions, my name is Chris Just. I'm the president of the company. I've spent quite a few years writing code as a software engineer. I've also been a consulting firm owner, and I'm co-author of the curriculum that we have here at CompuScholar. So I bring that industry perspective to the courseware, and we're really trying to teach here the things that students will need in their professional life when they move on to a computer science career. If you have questions throughout the presentation, I encourage you to just shout out. You're also always welcome to email me at chris.just@compuscholar.com. So I look forward to corresponding with you later. So before we get started, just a couple of notes. All the participants here on the call are muted to try and avoid some background noise. We might have a little bit here, but hopefully that's not too bad. If you have a question, again, I do encourage questions, so please just drop those into the chat window, and we'll see those questions pop up and answer them as soon as we can. Again, we are recording this session. We'll have it posted on our website, so please don't do or say anything that you don't want to see here on the 6 o'clock news. And in the unlikely case that we have some sort of technical difficulties that we can't reconnect right away, we'll go ahead and continue to record the remainder of the conversation offline and post the whole thing when we're done. All right. So as I mentioned, this is part of our Teacher Success series, and what we really want to do here at CompuScholar is partner with you throughout the year, provide some ongoing opportunities for enrichment, and so this is part of that outreach. And so as such, this is for you, not for us necessarily. So we really would love to have your feedback and your suggestions. If there's a particular topic that you want us to cover on the upcoming webinar, just shoot us an email, and we'll be glad to take a look at that. So today, what are we covering with respect to the College Board labs? So we'll talk a little bit about what the labs mean and why we have them at all. We'll talk about the fun topics of the course audit and the lab security protocols that we have to adhere to. We'll briefly overview what's in each of the labs, and we'll take a shot at building and running the labs in the Eclipse development environment. So that is always a topic of conversation on the College Board forums, is how do I get these things actually building and running correctly? And so we can certainly demonstrate that today in the Eclipse IDE. And as always, at the end, we'll reserve just a few minutes for a general purpose CompuScholar forum. So if you have a question or a comment that you'd like to make about anything CompuScholar related that doesn't fall into today's topic, just hold that till the end, and you'll definitely have a chance to pipe up there at the end. Okay, so moving forward, why do we have these labs at all? So those of you that have been around for a while probably recognize that the College Board exam changed in the 2014-2015 school year, and the old grid roll case study was actually removed from the exam. So it used to be tested on the exam, and it is no longer tested. Instead, there were 3 new example labs that showed up, but those labs are not tested. So the labs are called Magpie, Elevens, and Picture Lab. And so while these labs are available as examples of the kinds of work students should be able to do, they're not actually tested on the exam. Instead, you can do 20 hours of lab work on any sort of project. So any sort of programming projects that you have in your course that accumulate to 20 or more hours will qualify in terms of the lab requirement for that. So teachers that want to use any sort of mixture of personal, the example labs, or any third-party labs that they can come up with can do that when they make sense for their classroom. Okay. So let's talk about lab security. The student guides are actually publicly posted on the College Board website, so anybody can go out there and take a look at the student guides and get a real good feel for what the labs are all about. However, the actual code and the solutions, the teacher's guides, are only available if you have completed the course audit. So these are secure documents that are very tightly protected by the College Board. I've cross-posted a little quote from their website that you have to click through as you're downloading these things that basically says, I understand these are for in-classroom use only. I'm going to keep them secure. I'm not going to let students take them home. I'm going to collect them back, and so on and so forth. And in particular, I'm not going to post them anywhere else. So we will obviously adhere to that here as well. And so there are some things that we can do today without actually looking at the code, but we will be very, very careful not to stray into any gray areas that might cause the nice folks over at the College Board to send us a friendly letter. So we will do what we can here, but in terms of actually looking at the specific source code and the teacher's guides and so forth yourself, we will leave that to you. Okay, so if you have gone through the course audit process, you're a registered AP teacher. You just need to click into the secure documents area that's down kind of in the bottom left corner here. And then you'll see for AP Computer Science A, the 3 labs. So you can just download those one at a time, click through the acknowledgement that you will give over your firstborn child if anything happens to the lab material. And then you can download those zip files. So I've got these little arrows here, let's see, that reminds me to actually flip over to my system and show you something. So let's break away from the PowerPoint here and go do that. Bear with me for just a moment. Here we go. So what I've done is I've actually downloaded the 3 zip files. Here's the 11s lab, the teacher lab, or the Magpie lab, and the picture lab, and then just unzip those into the 3 different directories. So in those directories are all the student code, the solution code, and all the guides and so forth. So all it's buried in there. And so we'll take a deeper dive there in just a moment. Okay, back to the PowerPoint and moving on. So let's talk very briefly about the course audit. If you're a teacher, whether you're a public private school teacher or a homeschool teacher, and you want to list your course as an AP course on the student's transcript, then you have to go through the course audit process. Basically, the audit process is just there to make sure you are promising to teach more or less what is on the AP exam. So you have to go through this course audit process if you want to get access to any of the secured material, such as these example labs or the example exams that they post from time to time. This is actually a pretty easy process. All you have to do is register with a teacher's account there at the College Board website, submit a syllabus that describes your course and how you're going to teach it, and then you just wait for approval. This is quick, easy, and painless if you are claiming identical to a pre-approved syllabus. So if there is a syllabus out there that the College Board has already reviewed that they say is good, and you're going to teach to those standards using that curriculum, then when you submit, you can simply say, I'm going to do just what that other syllabus did and quote it by number, and you should be waved through pretty easily. Let's flip over to the CompuScholar website for a moment. And we're on the CompuScholar website. I've gone to courses, AP Computer Science A. And you can see right here in the middle, there's a link to a College Board authorized syllabus with the number. You can click on that. You can see the whole syllabus. We'll let you read through that at your leisure. But it's got that number up there at the top. So that's the number you'll want to claim identical to if you are going to use our Java programming AP material that we publish here at CompuScholar. Okay. So again, the course audit sounds scary, but it's really not that bad unless you want to write your own syllabus, and then it takes a little bit more effort. Okay. So switching gears, and again, if there's questions that you want to ask, don't be bashful about it. Just type them there in the chat window, and we can definitely answer those questions. Okay. So why are there? So we got one coming in here now. So why are the sample labs secure if they're not tested on the exam? That is a great question, and one that I scratched my head over a little bit myself. I mean, these labs are just general purpose examples of these sorts of things students ought to be able to do on an exam, but they're not really tested on the exam at all. So it's a bit of a mystery to me personally why these are held under such tight lock and key. I mean, you would think they would want everybody to be real familiar with these and be able to do them. I guess maybe they want to keep the solutions out of the student hands, but really students that are going to do well on the exam are going to be disciplined enough not to look at the answers when they're going through the student parts of the exercises. So again, that's just a College Board decision. I wish they wouldn't do it, but that's up to them. So anyhow, okay, there are 3 different example labs that they now publish. There's Magpie, there's Picture Lab, and there's 11s, and these are ranked more or less in order of increasing difficulty. So Magpie is all about having conversations with a computer, right? So the computer is trying to read the text that you type in and produce some sort of coherent response. By and large, the technical skills involved here are doing some flow control with if statements and practicing your string processing with a variety of different string operations. Next is the picture lab. And so the picture lab will actually load images into a small GUI and let you process those in different ways. And so as you might imagine, dealing with pictures and images, you're looking at some heavy duty array work and loops and some other odds and ends in order to manipulate those arrays. Then the third lab is called Elevens. Elevens is a pretty simple card game about matching cards. And that again comes with a GUI, so the students don't ever have to write their own GUI interface. GUI concepts are not tested on the exam, and so they don't require you to know those here. But the Elevens project is focused on object-oriented design and coding. So you will come up with objects that manage the cards and the deck and so forth. So at a big picture, that's what's in each of the labs. And as I mentioned, we'll take a deeper dive here into the zip files that I downloaded, but each lab is going to come with a student guide PDF, the student starter code, teacher's guide in PDF, and then the teacher solution code. So once again, let's flip over and take a look at that. So here are the 3 directories that I exploded from the zips that I downloaded from the College Board. And let's drill into Magpie here. You can see this was last updated in 2014. And so we've got both the student guide and the teacher's guide, as well as the starter code and the teacher solution code. So I'm not going to open up the PDFs. Those are, at least the teacher version of that is restricted. The student guide, again, you can find linked on the College Board website. The teacher code is broken into 4 different activities. So there's guided steps within the instructions that will lead students through different activities. So there's solution code for each one of those. And in addition, you've got activity starter code as well. So if we look in activity 2, for example, you can see some documentation as well as the actual Java files. So these are the sorts of things that you'll download from the College Board. Each of the labs is similar in having the actual lab itself, the teacher materials, the PDFs, and so forth. So they all follow the same pattern. All right, so building and running in Eclipse. The labs themselves, as you notice, they didn't come with any project files. And out there in the wild world, there's many different Java IDEs, and you might be using Eclipse, you might be using NetBeans, you might be using something else. We happen to prefer Eclipse here, but there's nothing stopping you from using other IDEs. So as such, the College Board doesn't distribute any project files for any IDE. And sometimes it can be a little bit tricky for teachers to get the source files integrated into the development environment and actually build and run them. So we will download those here and show you how to do it ourselves. If you are using our own Java programming course, we do have Eclipse projects that are pre-baked into the course, so you can download that zip file for each of the labs. And the zip file will just have an empty shell. It's not going to have any of the source code, any of the protected material. So big picture, you'll download those Eclipse projects, you'll integrate the secured code and all the images and other files into the Eclipse projects, and then run those in Eclipse. And this is actually a pretty easy process. So let's go observe it firsthand. So again, this is my directory with the APCSA labs that I downloaded from the College Board. I've got another directory up here, and this is an Eclipse Workspace. So what I've done is I've downloaded the empty Eclipse project files from my Java programming course. So we've got a student project and a solution project for each one of those labs. And then I just unzip the labs here into my directory. And I've already got an Eclipse Workspace established here. Let me pull up Eclipse. Right now, there's nothing in the Package Explorer. So we're going to import those empty projects. So right click, select Import, General Existing Projects into Workspace. Click Next, and Browse, and OK. You can see here all the projects that it found in that directory. We'll just click Finish. Great, now we've imported all the projects into Eclipse, And once again, these are empty projects. So if we drill into one, for example, you can see there's actually no source files here, just a placeholder text that says you've got to go get these files from your teacher and put them in this directory. So that's the pattern that we chose. And so it makes it really easy to just copy the files over into the appropriate directories. Let's get started with maybe the easy one, Magpie. So we'll pull up a couple of different folders here. So on the Eclipse Workspace side, let's go into the Magpie student directory, and let's just do the first activity that's listed there. And we're going to come in here to the material that I downloaded from the College Board. We're going to go into the starter code directory, into the matching activity, and just grab these source files and drag them over into the source directory. Okay, so now we've got those files in the source directory. And if you want to, you can go into Doc and copy all those files over from the Doc directory as well. Okay, so now if we go back to Eclipse, let's expand that directory, Magpie Activity 2. And I'll just hit F5 to refresh. You can see the source files are now there, as well as the doc files. And the way the example labs work is it'll have some sort of runner project or test wrapper that you can use to kick things off. So we'll just click on the Java file here. And again, I'm not going to show it to you because it's restricted material, but we can run it. And you can see down here, this is the output from the program. And this is, again, natural language processing. So the program is trying to interpret what you're saying and produce some sort of meaningful response. So it's probably not going to be all that meaningful at this point because the student hasn't done any work. So this is just the initial starter project for the first activity, and it's not going to be very complicated. You can see it's very easy to integrate this source code into an Eclipse project and then get it running. Okay, great. So that is Magpie. And let's go ahead and take a look at PictureLab. Pull my 2 copies of Explorer back up. Oops, that's the wrong one. Here we go. All right, so we're going to go into PictureLab over there. We're going to go in. Let's do the solution this time, so we'll see the fully coded solution. Go into the source directory, PictureLab updates, teacher materials, final classes, copy them over. All right, so I copied from final classes here into my source directory over here. I guess I could drag the doc directory over at the same time. All right, now PictureLab also has images, and that's maybe the hardest thing to get straight is making sure the images are in the class path so they can get loaded up correctly. So all we need to do really, we'll go into images here and images over here, and we're just going to select them all and copy them across. Okay, so let's go expand the PictureLab complete activity. And again, we'll just select that and hit F5 to refresh. So now you can see we've got all of the source files in there, as well as all the documentation. And if we come down here to the images directory, you can see all the images that we copied over. So for this one, we're going to run Picture Tester. That's what kicks everything off. And again, we won't show you the code, but we'll go ahead and run it. And you can see here's the PictureLab activity. The way this works is there's if you look at Picture Tester.java, say that 5 times fast, you'll see a bunch of lines that can be commented or uncommented depending on what picture you want to use. So the students can come in here and play with it that way. So let me close that up. Okay, any questions so far? I know I'm going through it at a sprint, but again, if you've got questions, go ahead and ask. Please ask. We've got one coming in here about the images to show the image transfer again. So let me go do that and pull up both directories. Oops. Okay, so what I did is I just went into this is the workspace directory over here. So I just went into the images directory that we had pre-allocated in our empty project. You can see the old placeholder text file there. And then I went into the images directory here. This is the material that was downloaded from the College Board, and I'm sure they have full copyrights and all that good sort of stuff for all these images. So we just copy them over and drop them into our images directory. So the way our Eclipse project is set up and all the source files are set up, that is sufficient to find and load the images. And if you just run the picture tester initially, you're going to see this beach picture, but you can go in there and uncomment tests that will explore different things like edge detection and so forth on these different pictures. So I do encourage you to get in there and play with that. All right. So that's the picture lab. Let's do 11s as well. Come back over here to my handy directories. Let's back out. We'll go into this is the Eclipse Workspace. So we're going to go into the solution again, and we'll do the very last solution project. Right now it's empty, so we need to copy the secured material over from the College Board. 11s. Let's do the solution code. And you might ask yourself why the directory patterns and naming conventions and everything are all different across all of these labs. And I'm sure they were obviously written by different people who had different personal standards. It's a bit of a mystery to me why the College Board didn't standardize everything, but I'm sure they've got a million things to do just like we all do. So let's grab everything in here, including this card subdirectory, and just drag it over. Copy it over here. So we're going from the solution code directory in the College Board material over to the source directory here. And if you look in the cards, we also included and copied over all the cards from the left side to the right side. So all the card images should now be in the project. Let's go back to Eclipse and refresh everything. Great, now we've got all the files. And again, you're looking for that runner or that tester. There's actually a couple different games here. We can click on the 11's GUI runner and just fire it up. And you can see the 11's project here is fully functional. You can see all the cards. This is a matching game, so if you just select matching cards, that should get rid of them, I believe. So that's, in a nutshell, the way you'll get the 11's project kicked off. Again, there's multiple guided activities within each of these projects, so the student will start with a somewhat functional program, and they'll build onto it as they add classes and things like that. So that is a whirlwind tour of the College Board labs, at least to the extent that we think we are allowed to show, under the terms of their security arrangements. So we've shown you the shell Eclipse projects that you can download from our course material, how to integrate the College Board material into those Eclipse projects, and then how to build and run things very quickly. Now, if you are not a teacher in one of our courses, but you still want to get a hold of these Eclipse projects, please do email me. I'd be happy to send those things to you. So again, if you want the Eclipse projects that I've demonstrated here, whether or not you're a CompuScholar customer, I'm happy to provide those to you. So just shoot me an email, and I'll send you a download link or the zip files directly. All right. So that was again a quick tour of the college labs and kind of the end of the main topic for the day. So I wanted to segue into the CompuScholar forum, which is the place where we can make a few brief announcements and entertain any sorts of questions that you have about CompuScholar in general. So the first announcement is that if you haven't heard, we do have a new Unity game programming course. This is something we're really excited about, and we've been working on it for quite some time, and we're getting there. We've actually started including this in the review logins. So you can go out there and check it out and see the progress that we've made and see if this course is going to be a good fit for you. So this will be released for the fall of 2017 school year. We've got a question coming in about access. How do I get access to the Unity game programming course? So again, all of the existing review logins have now got access to this Unity game programming course, at least a snapshot of it, with about one full semester's worth of material intact. So if you have an existing review login to CompuScholar, you can just go use those login credentials, and you'll see the Unity game programming course listed there. If you have forgotten your credentials, or if you don't have a review login and you would like one, again, just email us and we will get you set up. Okay. The next quick announcement is just looking ahead to the next webinar topic. So in about a month, we'll be back again in this format, and we're going to talk about ideas for summer projects. So we know your kids are kind of winding down after the AP exam. You might want something for them to do for the few weeks that are left in school, or you might want something to suggest that they do over the summer to keep them busy and occupied and thinking about computer science. So that's what it's going to be all about in May. And we actually encourage you, if you've got some cool ideas that you've done in your classroom, to send those things to us in advance. And then with your permission, we can mention those ideas during the forum and share those out with other people. So that's what we've got coming up here. I'll pause here for one last moment and see if there's any last minute questions or feedback that you have on anything CompuScholar related. And so if this is your last chance for the month here in this format. Going once, going twice. Okay. If you think of anything later on, again, just shoot me an email and we're happy to reach out to you. Thank you so much again for joining. I'm sure you can find us on our website with the contact forms if you need to. You can also give us a call here at the office and we're happy to chat. All right. Thanks everybody and have a good day.